What is up, everybody? We are here with graduate of Creative Pro Wrestling, host of the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, MJF's lawyer, Mark Sterling. How you doing today, sir?
What's up? How's it going? Thanks for having me.
It's awesome. Look at all the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast merch in the back there.
All of it. Some of it. Not all of it.
How are you staying busy during the COVID-19 and everything that's going on in the world currently?
Well, to be honest, we started pushing a little bit more on the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast front when everybody was quarantined, just like as a way to provide content for people that were bored or didn't have anything to do. So, the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast has been doing very well over the last year. I stay very busy editing the podcast, doing videos, shooting videos. I'm setting up, I was talking to you before this, we're setting up a Twitch stream for the next couple of weeks. So yeah, I mean, producing the podcast plus my Off the Hop Rope podcast, which pairs the perfect beer with the perfect wrestling match. We've been going 2 years strong on that one. So just having a lot of fun in the podcast wrestling world.
Awesome. We will get right into this with we'll say Spencer first. Spencer, what's up?
Nothing much. Hey, Mark, how you doing, man?
What's up? How's it going?
Doing good. Hey, appreciate you doing this.
Yeah.
Okay. First question. We saw you in AEW recently, and you faced John Moxley, and you were MJF's lawyer, which was fantastic. You did a great job.
Thanks.
Is there any chance we might see you again, or was that kind of like not really a one-off, but just like a few-time appearance?
Well, technically, I'm not signed to AEW or anything. Right. I am still a practicing lawyer in the professional wrestling world. So wherever I am needed by any of my friends, I will be there. And, hey, this is to everybody in the wrestling world. If you've been harmed in a wrestling related injury, call 188-GO-SMART right now and get a hold of me and I'll help you out.
Okay. Another question for you. I am a Patreon for Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. I love what you guys do. It's good stuff.
Thank you for the support.
Oh yeah, no problem. What would you say has probably been your favorite thing? Either recording the podcast or like doing one of the vlogs. Like, what's the best thing that you've done?
Like a piece of work that I'm the most proud of?
Yeah.
Oh, well, 100%. You got to check this out if you haven't. The complete history of WWF Hasbro figures on the YouTube. It's 4.5 hours. I am serious. It almost killed me.
Yeah.
Like, working on that project. We had like a 2-week. We said here's when it's coming out. Then we shot it, and then I had 2 weeks to finish it. And I just like underestimated how much was going to go into that, like bringing the footage in for each figure. I shot the B-roll footage, so like shooting the B-roll footage of every figure, plus having 3+ HD video feeds in one thing was challenging. So the rendering was, for you video nerds out there, the rendering was insane.
Oh, I bet.
So I would like move something and then I'd have to wait a minute. It was very difficult. So it took a long time. I would wake up, work all day, maybe get a workout, work until 1 a.m, go to sleep, wake up. It was 2 weeks. So, but I'm very happy with how it came out. I'm amazed. There's very minimal mistakes in the 4 hours, because when I finished, it was like, well, I can't watch 4.5 hours of this right now. I'm putting this up. And if there's like a misspelling or something, I think there's like one dropped frame in the 4.5 hours. And I'm like, whatever, who cares? But I'm very proud of that. All of the histories that we've done on YouTube.
Yeah.
We have an ECW one, the LJN one we did with Conrad Thompson that came out this Christmas. That one was great. So
right.
I love those. So that's my favorite thing that we've done.
Okay. I haven't got a chance to check them out, but I think after that recommendation, all the work you put on, I think I'm going to spend the 4 hours and watch it now.
Yeah, you don't have to do it in one sitting. You can watch them by series, and we have a lot of special guests in there from the wrestling world, which is fun.
Okay, cool. Well, again, hey, thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it, and keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks, Spencer. We will say hi to Sarah.
Hi, Mark.
Sarah.
How's it going?
Hello. How's it going?
Good. First off, I'm just hearing about this great wrestling match and beer pairings. So this is something that's going to intrigue me. I'm definitely going to check that out. I want to know, what's your favorite match and favorite beer?
Okay. My favorite match, I think, is I'm going to narrow it down to the 3 Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat matches in 1989.
Classics.
Yeah, those I watch those, I don't know, once a month. And as a professional wrestler, I would say those are the 3 matches that I study the most, just like psychology wise, things like that. So love the babyface fire from Steamboat, and I love just like the fighting, you know, where Ric Flair gets his offense in and things like that. So I sort of strive to build my matches similarly. So I love those matches. And then my favorite beer, if you are a craft beer connoisseur, my favorite brewery is Treehouse Brewery in Charlton, Massachusetts. It's very well known. You can only get it there, but if you're a beer nerd, you've probably heard of it. People trade these beers all over the place, but they have their flagship beer is called Julius, and it's my all-time favorite New England hazy IPA. I love it. It's great. But if you ever get a chance to come in the area, Treehouse Brewery is, in my opinion, the best brewery on planet Earth. So it's worth the trip.
Too far, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, for sure.
So jumping over to your other podcast, if you could get any one figure, price isn't a factor, what's your holy grail to get?
I think Broski's Rhythm and Blues, Greg the Hammer Valentine is something that's always intrigued me. I don't, there are some other versions out there, and I don't think that I would ever pay the money that I would need to get that, but
Right.
That's something that I would love to have in my collection. I was, even before I was friends with Matt, just following from afar as a fan, I, watched his adventures trying to get this figure, just like on Twitter and stuff. So, yeah, and the Hasbro line is my favorite toy line ever. So getting the most rare figure in that line would be my holy grail.
Right. All right. So one last question. If you were putting on your own show, like your dream show, who would be your dream main event, dead or alive wrestlers?
Huh. Putting on my own show. I think, Ric Flair's my favorite wrestler. So, I'd put him in the main event. You said dead or alive, so I'm assuming everyone's in their prime. So Ric Flair, and I'm trying to think somebody from the modern era, maybe like a on top Ric Flair versus on top The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin. I know they've had the opportunity to be in the ring together numerous times, but like top guy Ric Flair versus top guy Austin or something like that. I think that would be my dream main event
match.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Mark.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Sarah. So, Mark, I'm going to play a little intro video. I'm going to get off the screen, and our little friend Steve's going to come on the screen and ask you a couple questions.
Cool.
Hi, Mark. Thank you for doing this. It means so much to me.
What's up, Steve?
Thank you so much. And I love AEW.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Number one, first question is, what's up with the old lawyer thing?
Well, hey, my friend, MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, he was attacked from behind, and I am a very smart person, and I passed the bar, and I needed to help him. He said, "Mark, I'm in trouble. I need some help. Would you take this case?" I said, "No problem, Max. You're my buddy. I'll do whatever I can for you." So that's what's up with that.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a huge fan personally of John Moxley, so
Mhm.
I wanted to know what did it feel like to fight him?
Well, it didn't feel great. I don't know if you saw, I got thrown into the chairs. He beat me with my own shoe. He slapped me in the face and I couldn't hear out of my ear. So it did not feel great, but I think I held my own there in the main event against John Moxley. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the opportunity.
Good. I don't really watch AEW. I've seen clips of it, so I'm like, I have to start watching it and stuff.
Right.
So like, yeah. So I'm like, as soon as I heard of you, I'm like, okay, this lawyer guy, I gotta watch this.
Right. Oh yeah, of course.
I like have to watch this because have you seen the part where Hornswoggle's like Swoggle's Court? Have you seen that?
Swoggle's Court?
Court.
I've never seen that. I'll have to. He's a buddy of mine. I'll have to ask him about it.
There was So last question.
Okay.
Oh wait, there's one more after this, but last question. Last but not only.
Okay.
COVID-19 hit. As being a wrestler, how big was the impact for you?
Well, to be honest, I was wrestling pretty much every weekend, a couple times a weekend, and that was a huge part of my life. And when COVID-19 happened, I didn't wrestle for 5 months. And here's an honest thing. I wrestled in Maine. It's a state in Massachusetts in March, in the first week of March. And then I did not wrestle again until I wrestled John Moxley in the main event in AEW. So it was pretty life-changing. I mean, just having more time on the weekend. I just moved into my new house in Massachusetts, and I had a lot of time to, I don't know, set up my office and my house, my displays of figures and things like that. So while at first I was very bummed out about it, yep, great, I love your collection. After a while, I kind of, I enjoyed the time off. But I'll tell you right now, I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to wrestle again. So let's get it going.
Maybe you can come to Toronto.
Maybe I can. Maybe somebody needs some lawyering up in Toronto.
I can take care of that.
Okay.
Okay. And last question.
Okay.
If there was an indie fight, who would you want from the indies to fight each other?
Ooh, I'm going to book a match. I want to see Matt Cardona, a.k.a. Zack Ryder, versus Nick Gage. Maybe in a death match. That's what I want to see. And I think there's a lot of people out there that want to see that match. Do you know Nick Gage?
No.
Nick
I don't
Gage. Okay, well, he is a crazy wrestler. So I think there's a lot of people that would agree with me. Zack Ryder versus Nick Gage. Let's see it. GCW.
Okay. Everybody's talking about this John Markley versus Mark Sterling.
Yep.
So I have to see this, man. Next, I'm going to be watching that in a few days or so because everybody's talking about it. I'm like, okay, I got to see this.
Yep, you got to see it. You got to check it out, man. I held my own against your favorite wrestler, John Moxley.
Not my favorite, but
one of your favorites. Yeah.
Okay, last time, thank you so much. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, thanks for asking those great questions, man.
Thanks, Steven.
See ya.
So, Mark, I want to ask you, back in the early days of the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, when it was just only a podcast, did you guys, and specifically did you, think it was going to blow up to what it is today? Like, you guys have, obviously, the figure lines, the live shows. It's become more of a podcast, more just like a brand now. Did you think it was going to blow up this big, and how have you been dealing with the kind of thing?
Yeah. I guess like the short answer is sort of yes. I always thought that it was going to be big. I think I've told this story before, but I know Brian because I was his student. I trained at Creative Pro. I started in 2015, and I'm also a video producer by trade. So that was my job at the time. I worked at a company where I made videos for them, and I did marketing and things like that. So when I came into Creative Pro, I started helping with their marketing and videos and YouTube channel and Facebook and all that stuff. Just as a student, you'd sort of help. So I became friends or pretty close with Brian, working with him at Creative Pro. And then one day, it was about a year before the Major Wrestling Figure podcast launched. So maybe 2017, maybe 6 months. I don't know. He put a tweet out that said, "What if me and Zack Ryder started a podcast about wrestling figures?" He didn't direct it to me or anything, but I immediately texted him and said, "If you do this, I want to help." So I think he remembered that. When they started, he was like, "Hey, we're doing it. So how do we do this?" So whatever. I had just started my own podcast like 8 weeks before that. So I sort of knew how to get it off the ground. So I always knew that it would be big. I think that, there's a million wrestling podcasts, so you got to do stuff a little differently. You have to be sort of niche. And I thought this was a perfect thing to do because they were, and I coined him the Michael Jordan of wrestling figure collecting, because he literally is. Is there a better wrestling figure collector? I mean, some people might have more things, but the rarity of the figures that he has, the knowledge he has, plus the fact that he's won the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania, he's the Michael Jordan of wrestling figure collecting. So I just knew that guy, it'd be like if Michael Jordan started an NBA podcast right now, everybody would listen. It'd be like, of course I'm going to listen to that if you're an NBA fan. So I just knew that it would be big, and I wanted to take part in it. Did I know they were going to have action figures? No, not at all. Or merch or things like that. I didn't sort of know where the business would take it, but I knew that we would have a fan base. So I was excited to be a part of it.
Awesome. We'll say hi to Vincent.
Hey, Mark.
What's up, man?
It's your number one fan.
I love Vincent Rosa here.
And I just wanted to tell you, I just ordered one of those sweet 8x10s you just put for sale.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for the support.
I gave you a little interesting inscription request. So
okay, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
Hopefully you'll be able to take care of that. But my question was, what was your favorite match you've had at Creative Pro, and why was it the gender reveal match?
It certainly was. I guess not technically for Creative Pro Wrestling, but it did take place at Creative Pro. Vincent, pulling back the curtain here to everybody who's watching. Vincent reached out to me, about a year, maybe 2 years ago. How long ago was it?
It was about a year. Our baby's 10 months now.
Okay. So about a year ago, and he said, this is a weird thing, but I'm having a gender reveal party. I'd like to have it at Creative Pro Wrestling, and I'd like for you to wrestle Chris Statlander at it, and the winner will determine the gender of the baby. So obviously we're not magic. So your friend came to the back. He's the only person on planet Earth who knew the gender of your baby, and he had an envelope, and he gave it to me and Kristen maybe about 12 minutes before we went out. And it said boy on it. So that means I'm winning, right? So your family, there was no wrestling fans there, right?
Not really. Just obviously my wife and I are huge fans, and then mostly just family members. And, they're not wrestling fans per se, but they put up with my obsession.
Yeah. So we put on a long match where the fans in the crowd, they knew that if I won, it was going to be a boy. And if Kristen won, it was going to be a girl. So we loaded that match up with false finishes at the end. We pulled out all the stops. We had interferences. We used I put her through a plastic kid's chair. I think I hit her with a potty. We had a great time. And I have wrestled Kristen numerous times, and she has given me some of my best matches. So I loved that you asked to do this. I had an awesome time doing it. I still have 2 angles of the footage that we plan on putting on the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast YouTube channel. As soon as I can get 2 people, and I have them in mind, 2 people to commentate the match, we're going to put that match up live.
I've been waiting for that to get posted.
It's great. And I love seeing your faces after, pure joy of what was to come. So I thank you for letting me be part of that. And, I know Kristen feels the same way. And fast fact, you had part of your bachelor party at Creative Pro, so we performed there too.
Yeah.
I think you pinned me in that.
I did. I pinned you at Creative Pro, and then we had to do the gender reveal too. So it's been like a theme of Smart Mark Sterling. So
right. Well, I appreciate you letting me into your life there.
I've been listening to the podcast since day one, and I've been a fan since before that of your actual wrestling. So
right. Yes.
I'm down with you since day one. One last question though I had for you is there a Ric Flair figure that you don't have yet that might be really, really hard for you to obtain?
Yes. To be honest, I kind of have everything that I really care about as far as the Ric Flair figures go, except for the very rare original San Francisco toy maker Ric Flair in the baby blue trunks. The not the little plastic one, but the big rubber one.
Yeah.
There was numerous variant colors of this Ric Flair, and the baby blue one was kind of like a running change. Like they put it out and then they pulled it, so it's pretty rare. And to find it mint is very hard. One was recently on eBay for I think starting bid was $300, and I passed on it. But that's the guy that I'm looking for actively. So
hey, at least we got those AWAs from Zombie.
So one of my prized possessions.
Me too. Mark, thanks so much for the time and thanks for the memories. And before you let me go, I just want to show you. Here's the baby right here.
Well, hello. I decided your fate.
Yeah. It's all because of you that we have our little baby, our baby boy, I should say.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, you. Vince. Great talking to you.
Yeah.
And Mark, we'll hop to our last one of the night. We'll say hi to Steve.
Hey, Mark. How's it going?
What's up, Steve?
By the way, I respect all the works you guys have been putting into the podcast. As a fellow video editor, I respect your works of all the YouTube videos and everything you've done on the YouTube channel. So I'm from video editor to video editor. Much respect to you, sir.
Thank you.
So there's been a lot of wrestling questions. So I want to go off the board and talk about Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, okay.
So what will be your top 3 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies?
Well, I in the quarantine, I started to rewatch a lot of them. We've been talking a little bit about the Marvel stuff on the podcast, and definitely my spin-off podcast on Patreon, because I started to get into collecting the Marvel Legends figures. And so I started to rewatch the Marvel Universe. I just love Infinity Wars and Endgame. It's like I feel like it's a cheap answer because whatever, but just when you think about it, the work that went into making those 2 films work, getting all the actors to come back, telling such an amazing story over the span of multiple years and tons and tons of movies and TV shows, and just like look how hard, it's hard for DC to tell the story. They can't do it. DC's trying, but it's hard. It's hard to keep these actors and stay on target. And when you watch these older movies and you see like the scenes after the film that like give you a little taste of like what's to come, and putting in one actor in one scene in Captain America, whatever, knowing that he's going to have a huge role in some other movie. It's just mind blowing. So I have to say Infinity Wars and Endgame, because I could watch those movies a million times in a row. It's great. But like, I guess Thor Ragnarok is like the my third favorite. Just an entertaining film. It kept the story going. I think it was just like what Thor was always supposed to be. It was funny, but also full of action. So yeah, I would say that's kind of like, I think, one of the most underrated MCU films.
Yeah, I can't wait for Natalie Portman to take over as Thor. So that's going to be interesting too.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate the time, Mark. I'm looking forward to the Twitch channel that you guys are putting together. I'm looking forward to maybe some virtual recreation of FWF on Fire Pro. Maybe
That's a pretty good idea. Maybe we'll do that. But I will tell you this, since you're on and you're a Marvel fan, I do plan in the first week of launching this Twitch unboxing every one of my Marvel Legends figures. I have them all still in box except for this Guardian that I unboxed yesterday. But there's going to be 30 something plus figures to unbox. I'm going to do it all in one live stream on our Twitch. I'm going to have some friends jump in and jump out during the thing. It's going to be a long thing. We'll take questions and it'll be fun.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thank you,
Cool.
Mark.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve. So, Mark, before we wrap up, let's plug away all the Major Wrestling Figure podcasts, the Off the Hop Rope, everything.
Yeah, so everyone knows Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. You can find that podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And, our YouTube channel, we're almost at 100,000 subscribers. So we're looking forward to that. Patreon.com/MajorWF That's how you can join the community. And that's what a lot of people talk about, the Facebook group. We go live in there all the time. We sell things, we're raising money for people. It's just been great. This, meeting everybody and becoming friends with people in that community. I love it so much. And then, also on the Patreon, that's where I do my vlog weekly. I have 35 of them. The Silver Linings with Smart Mark Sterling. It could be a podcast, an unboxing, a travel vlog. There's a lot of things that I do there. So there's that. And then Off the Hop Rope. Off the Hop, as in hops in the beer, rope. Wherever you find your podcast, we pair the perfect beer with the perfect match.
Oh, I just hit something. All right. Thank you, everybody. And have a great night.
Thanks, man.